you all. Please be seated and welcome to the White House. It's a great pleasure for us to have you here for this important consumer protection event. I want especially to recognize Secretary Rubin, SEC Chairman Arthur Levitt, FTC Chairman Robert Pitofsky, and Commissioner Moselle Thompson, and Assistant Attorney General Jim Robinson. I'm also looking forward to hearing from our special guest, Mari Frank, who will tell us her story today about why we need more consumer protections.
Introduce a woman who has first-hand experience with the risks of our financial system. Mari Frank, from Laguna Niguel, California, will describe how credit card fraud has impacted her life. Ms. Frank.
I'm really honored to be here and actually very excited. Thank you so much, Mr. President and members of Congress, for putting to the forefront the issues of consumer privacy. I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened to me and why it's become such an important issue in my life. About 2 years ago, I was about to take my kids to the beach in beautiful California, and I got a phone call. And the phone call was, "Is this Mari Frank?" "Yes." "Well, this is a bank," which I won't say, but it was a bank I had never heard of, and they wanted to know why I had not paid my $11,000 bill to them. And I said, "Sorry, you have the wrong number." And then they proceeded to tell me my social security number and my birth date. And of course, my heart started beating like it is right now. And I knew I was in trouble, and I found out that there was over $50,000 worth of loss, that this person had gotten a red convertible Mustang in my name, that she had stolen my business cards and was parading as an attorney in California, that she had credit cards, credit lines, and all sorts of fun stuff that was causing my life a havoc. And even though I know how to research and write letters and all that, it took me 9 months, over 500 hours to clean up my credit. And it was a nightmare. And so I'm very, very pleased, first of all, to thank President Clinton and Congress for the Identity Theft Assumption and Deterrence Act that was passed last October and signed by the President in October, because that's at least helpful. But the real issue is that there's some other things going on as well. And that is some of the problems that we're having in the financial industry, and privacy is really the issue. Justice Brandeis had said that privacy was the right to be left alone in the late 1800s. But now we have to define privacy as the right to have control over our information. And if I asked you in here how many of you get those pre-approved offers in the mail, raise your hand. How many? Anybody in here? Yeah. And if I asked you questions about, do you know who's got your personal information and your medical information and what's being said about you, most of us have to say no. Now, that doesn't mean that the private industry is bad. It just means we need to look at things a little bit differently. So, as we enter the millennium, privacy will continue to be a problem for us. Whether we're going grocery shopping with our little cards, or we're talking on the phone and things can be scanned, or whether there's surveillance, when I go on the tollway and my little beeper goes off on my transponder, all those things are privacy. We have wonderful technology. Computers are great. I love them. I use the internet all the time. I have my own internet site. But the problem is it's pretty scary because there's some frightening things that can happen, the abuses and the fraud that can happen. So what needs to be done? I am absolutely thrilled to hear the things that the President is going to do, and I'm also very excited about all the privacy legislation that's been introduced in Congress. I read up in my little thomases.gov and read all the wonderful things you're doing and saying this is fabulous because you're bringing it to the forefront. You're recognizing that we have to have an emphasis on privacy. So thank you all so much. It is just, I'm so excited. Anyway, what needs to be done? I think when you hear what the President has to say, you're going to be as excited as I am about some of the things that needs to be done. But from a former victim and someone who hears problems and stories and cry with people who are victims every day and get hundreds of emails a month from victims, I want to tell you what we need, okay? And it really falls in line with what the President is going to present, so that's why I'm so happy to be here. First of all, we need to provide clear, easy to understand information so consumers know their rights, know their liabilities, and so they won't file bankruptcy. I mean, I'm an attorney, and I can't even understand these things. And so we need to do that. And by the way, for legislation, you could make the laws a little easier to understand as well. I don't think we need to use the legalese. You know, I've gone from being a litigator to a mediator, and I write everything in real simple terms. And that's what people need. We need simple terms. Just, you know, that KISS, K-I-S-S, keep it simple. All right. Give consumers control over how their personal information is collected, sold, or shared with other people. All right? Give notice to us as consumers. What are your rules? Let us know what it is. Have privacy policies so we know. And give us the right to opt out of having our names sold or shared or corrupted. Safeguard that private information. For me, I can just tell you what happened. How did this woman get my credit card? Well, what she did was she got one of the promotional offers in the mail. It was not a pre-approved credit. It was just promotional to a woman, Tracy Lloyd. I can say it. She was convicted. She put one line through her name, put my name, put my Social Security number, put she made $300,000 a year. I wish. And she was, by the way, because she was assuming a lot of identities. And she sent that in. And that immediately, a credit card with a credit line of $10,000 was issued to her at her address, 4 hours away from my home. That question should be, why did the credit card company not even question why there's a name crossed out? Why didn't they check addresses? Okay? Then, when that new address was reported to the credit reporting agencies, can anyone have an idea what happened then? The credit reporting agencies then made that fraud address the new address. And because my credit was pristine, she got credit pre-approved offers, like candy to her door. Yes, I'll take this $10,000. Yes, I'll take this $10,000. So that's how it grew. Now, I don't think there was any malice by the financial industry, but the handling practices of my private information is what caused the proliferation of the fraud. Okay, so we need to safeguard private information and make sure that no one gives it to someone who doesn't have a right to it, and that it's not corrupted, and they need to identify, is that really me? And finally, enforce the rules. I know David Medina's here, and I want to say I am so thrilled with what the Federal Trade Commission has been doing. You recently had a lawsuit against a company, an information brokerage company that was calling up banks and pretending to be the account holder and then finding out information about that account holder so that there could be lawsuits or whatever. And that was a deceptive practice. And so the Federal Trade Commission has taken a proactive role in protecting us as consumers. Thank you, David. You're wonderful. Okay, and last and most important for me is I think that for those of you in the financial industry, you're probably afraid to raise your hand, but I know you're here. I just want to say that I really applaud you. And I mean, I have lots of credit, and I'm glad my credit is pristine again. I think protecting consumer privacy is not at cross purposes with private industry. We have to start thinking about how protecting consumer privacy is good business. It's very good business. You know why? Because it's profitable. And why? Because consumer trust makes good business. And it also ensures an enduring relationship. So I suggest to you that if you can make the consumers trust you, they'll do more business with you, and you will do more business, and there won't be lawsuits, and there won't be all these horrible things going on. So I suggest to Congress and everyone here is that I encourage you to collaborate together. Put together industry, and don't have private industry and consumers fight about things. Get together and look about how can we make privacy work. All right? And I'm not going to say much more, and I just want to thank you all for being so nice and having me here. This is like very exciting for me. My kids wish that they could be here, and my son wanted me to say that I owe it all to him, who is a sophomore at Duke University, and now I have the great honor and great privilege, and I'm probably going to faint from this, to introduce the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mari. I just wish we could have found someone with a little energy to make this presentation.